read and reread, but they're always different.
Do you think I could have read the Gutenberg Galaxy that way?
I don't know. But actually, you see, all you need for the Gutenberg Galaxy are maybe a few basic.
I think that Gutenberg Galaxy was kind of one of the later books that I didn't even actually read linearly.
Football, baseball, they're all purple.
Yeah.
It's all over the park. Oh well, it's a little it won't hurt. It's gone. No. There it goes.
Point or commission.
So as McLuhan says, the audience becomes a workforce.
I make the discoveries.
Is that the audience becomes workforce.
For 20 years, scores of politicians have made the pilgrimage to this windowless sanctuary of sound in Midtown Manhattan. Here, Tony Schwartz has created some of the most effective commercials for Lyndon Johnson, Hubert Humphrey, George McGovern, and Jimmy Carter.
Audience becomes workforce.
West 56th Street.
455 West 56th.
Yeah.
All times present. Well, let us begin our
Electric environment.
Whether Macy or somebody else sells the toy doesn't make any difference.
Pero ayudar como, o sea, nosotros lo que hacemos es solo ayudarlos a que tengan más clientes, solo por.
Yes, I know just what you want.
At Schoenfeld's on Lexington Avenue. Only $8.50, a wonderful bargain.
Schoenfeld's?
We don't carry that brand, but I think Gimbel's does. Let me see. Yes, here it is. I thought I noticed it before.
Schoenfeld's? I don't get it.
Oh, I keep track of the toy market pretty closely. Does that surprise you, sir?
Surprise me. Macy, sending people to other stores.
Me da mucha ternura. ¿Por qué tiene que haber una competencia entre las marcas?
Now we'll take some at my store.
Well, listen, I want to congratulate you and Macy's on this wonderful new stunt you're pulling. Imagine sending people to other stores.
Public service ahead of profits. And consequently, we'll make more profits than ever before.
I don't get it. Why, it's...
Certainly is.
You said it. Imagine a big outfit like Macy's putting the spirit of Christmas ahead of the commercial. It's wonderful. Well, I'll tell you, I never done much shopping here before, but I'll tell you one thing. From now on, I'm going to be a regular Macy customer. All right, dear.
Thank you, madam.
There are 6 more women out there who want to thank you.
Not now. I've got to think this thing over.
Well, personally, I think it's a wonderful idea, too.
Because I know guys come on your show sometimes and you see them and they look good and you want to know what they're wearing, but you're too afraid to ask.
You think so. Those women think so. The point is, will Mr. Macy think so?
Terminé acá, pero fue por una buena causa.
King!
Just a minute.
I was thinking that today we could talk about where you work.
Well, you can see the way we work.
No, I know.
It's called transparency. I stack one thing on top of another on top of another. Look at them all simultaneously.
That's how you work now. You always work that way.
Always work that way.
I mean, how did you write the Gutenberg Galaxy, for instance?
It's a long time ago.
I just read sections as I needed them when I was writing.
Structural, thank you. But I remember the afternoon, we proofread the book in one afternoon, and we had 6, all group of us, some of my students.
That the audience becomes workforce.
So as McLuhan says, the audience becomes a workforce.
6, all group of us. They spend their time trying to classify me. That is the American mark of their stupidity.
Well, for once it'd be funny if you did.
Well, I perhaps I'll get around to it, but it will have to be after all other things fail. And when everything else is finished, I will. But as long as there's something more interesting to do.
It would make you into an author.
I don't think this is interesting. It's not challenging. To be asked to write your own entry in the dictionary or...
It could be fun, though.
Not really. Because you have obligations to the audience for that dictionary.
Yeah, absolutely. This is right.
I would refuse to accept those obligations. Absolutely.
You'd rather have a big blank?
I'd rather have the ground still open. See, when you go into a dictionary, you go into an enclosed space.
It seems to be frightening to you.
No, it's just ridiculous. And not practical. No, it's an attempt at putting you in a psychosis. Sure. Sure.
You mean
I'd like to call myself a UNCLAIMED. That's the kind of item I put in the dictionary.
We could work together finding words in the dictionary.
An unidentified flying object is an intellectual word.
Which,
an unclassifiable verb. So my students, we got about 35 young seminarians who were students from here. They all came over to the library and had books. All the books in Gutenberg Galaxy, they're all laid out on 16 tables.
Yeah.
And they sat down, they proofread the whole book in one afternoon. 35 boys.
Each one working on
a chapter? With two people working on each.
Chapter.
One reading with the eye, one reading aloud. You have to proofread that way.
Really?
Oh yeah. You can't just, one person can't proofread very well.
There's usually two people.
You have to have someone to read the text out loud while you look at the other text. Then you get a quick proofread and a quick proofread.
And there were no mistakes left?
I don't know. No complaints. That's the way it went to the press.
Have you ever reread your books?
No.
You never look at them at all?
Why would one look?
I don't know.
I can't think of any reason.
Most writers will look up to remember how they thought at that particular time, or whether their ideas have changed, or whether the seeds of that new idea.
See, I never use ideas. I always use just ways of seeing. It's like a painter. It doesn't use theories to paint, you know.
Awesome.
You use your senses.
Next is my page 19, speech 1, innumerable confusion.
I don't think you can quite get away with that phrase. Innumerable is suggests numbers. Except the confusion is singular. I don't know. Do you like the phrase innumerable confusion?
Innumerable confusion. It's part of it.
It's part of what?
It's part of the confusion.
Okay. You're miming.
Miming on that.
Still.
On Airbnb, the knowledge that you display on Coral, the knowledge that you display on
Videosity.
The ad of this is.
This is eliminating the prejudices of specialists. That's what they're trying to do. Organizing. Well, now, there is a term that is banded up. I mean, like the resources are so vast. The resources of knowledge. If we could all learn how to harness ignorance, we've got it made, man.
You have to, otherwise you're going to be talking about bird song.
And, you know, casting his perils before swings.
They all live together in one place. And
innumerable confusion.
They ever did in school anyway. So they're getting a very high-level education.
The dropout rate is up 12%. City SAT scores are down 9%.
Yeah, you're making that up.
No, I'm not. I'm reading it from this report from the Secretary of Education.
Without ever going to school.
Now I've totally lost my train of thought because it was incredible. Yeah, and I had an idea as I was watching you. I had an idea.
What was it?
Because there's an enormous amount of confusion.
Confusion
of an extreme kind is the normal human condition in all sensory and perceptual matters.
Confusion.
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 Today, Joe and I will be discussing the problems of New York City schools. Obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement.
Wrong! Our New York City public school system is the best in the world. End of story.
Well, then maybe you can explain why a prominent board member recently declared the city schools a disaster.
Easy, because he is dumb and I am smart.
Confusion and stupidity.
Confusion of an extreme kind.
And ignorance about this matter. He has a habit.
If anybody has the idea,
he has a habit. Has a habit. Has a habit.
The web was information. The web was information. The web was information. And that was what the value was. And it followed that the leverage accrued to the service that could manage and finagle and not just get swamped by information, but actually thrive on information. And that was Google. The fundamental nature of Google was completely different than the browser. And Microsoft understood the threat of value shifting, but their mistake was approaching that threat with a Windows-based mindset, when actually the threat was Google all along.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the challenge for these companies that have been successful. Like, it's impossible for them to view things from a perspective different from where they've been.
if anybody has the
In terms of auditory magic,
Hold on so nervously.
Native advertising is basically saying
Welcome back, stupid viewers.
service environments have taken the place of political policies.
And seamless integration of brands into great content. Advertising is the critical ingredient in bringing great content to consumers.
That's right. Advertising is the critical ingredient in great content, which is why HBO has never produced anything worth watching. Even they admit it's not TV. Myriad makes great content possible by retroactively inserting brands into reruns.
I never thought everything they ever had to say could be put on one page.
Wait, let me just ask you this then. Then you...
Down and get the good bread.
The technique of discovery itself. Organized ignorance as a way of bypassing confusion and as block to discovery brings me on to the subject of data processor on a very large scale. The young person today is a data processor large scale.
Will you take me to Winnipeg?
I will, someday. Toronto, Montreal, Quebec, Winnipeg.
And New York?
Sure, New York.
Unethical to inquire about a fellow patient, but how is his lordship?
His lordship?
The Bishop of Winnipeg.
Oh, you know the bishop.
My aunt's first cousin. I heard you were treating him.
You know, you're behaving just like I did last Tuesday night in Winnipeg.
I'll talk about the general strikes in Seattle and Winnipeg.
And with all its effects, social consequences carefully dramatized. Finnegan's Wake is a drama, it's a play. And the actors in the play are the media themselves. And with all its effects. Carefully dramatized, and the actors in the play are the media themselves. Carefully dramatized, and the actors in the play are the media themselves. Carefully dramatized, and the actors in the play are the media themselves.
Carefully dramatized, and the actors in the play are the media themselves.
Finnegan's Wake is a drama, it's a play.
I don't think I can dance to these.
Marshall McLuhan, the director of the University of Toronto's Institute of Culture and Technology, has done a great deal of research into the question of audience participation in the electronic media, and he's achieved quite extraordinary insights into the way in which it determines the participational level of the audience.
The tendency of the audience.
First. Actually, there's a lot of blah blah in this film.
To corporations that want to advertise, we will camouflage your ads to make them look like news stories. That's essentially it.
You look. I know. The most important parties to attend are the ones you're not invited to. Where's the host? I have something for you.
My book mentions that Oxide was fractal. I got inundated with people saying, now we understand.
They're hunters. The women have been completely deserted.
I wanted to have an augmented reality app where
3 or 4 pieces of bread. To go down and get the good bread. 3 or 4 pieces of bread. To go down and get the good bread.
Because I know guys come on your show sometimes and you see them and they look good and you want to know what they're wearing, but you're too afraid to ask.
Right.
Maybe this happens.
This is happening
Go
right
along
now.
with it, right?
Yeah.
So what if you could hold up your phone, right? Like as if you're texting or taking a picture, and you would see there'd be Jimmy, but it would say what Jimmy's wearing. You know
This is something you really want to have?
Boom, I just thought it up. I don't want to have it. I'm not saying I would use it, but I think it would be a big seller.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
But now that you mention it on the air, you're screwed.
Now I own it. Now everybody knows that it was my idea first.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works. Kanye West is working on it right now.
Now, so the automatic thing for women who've been deserted with men who are absent is to take over power. We are moving into a world where women will be the only power.
The power of giving effect without thinking.
Our job was to
is entirely within his domain.
save this public from its triviality.
You see, the advertisers have been puzzled for a long time in their surveys to discover that people don't really read ads until they own the thing. And
you are endlessly engaged in a do-it-yourself activity and looking at TV at all.
These days I just stay in and read Amazon reviews
most people read ads about things they already own.
of things I already own.
So the kids today no longer feel limited to their little private families. They now feel part of a very much larger family.
Out of just that one discovery came the book Mechanical Bride. This is practical criticism applied to the advertisements of the 1940s,
right,
30s and 40s. And the book that we wrote later, called Culture's Our Business,
Objects,
in the 60s, was a study of advertising, the only other study of advertising. Mechanical Bride was ads before TV, Culture's Our Business is ads after TV.
If you own that icebox or that car, then you notice the ads very much, because this is how you get your satisfaction.
Down and get the good bread.
This kind of this is
You do not any longer bring a top physicist in or a top engineer in to tackle a particular problem in mechanics. You bring in people from biology and psychology. You bring them in from all over the management and you say, now here's the problem. You tackle it as a team. You're just closed off now. They work on it without any of the specialist knowledge. The specialist simply says, look, I've been up against that problem before. It's insoluble. The team doesn't know enough to know. They're not specialists enough to know.
You will not bring the specialist whose specialty the problem is.
That is right. You keep him out.